Okay, I think we're ready to get going. So, I was working last night on the stubs, learning about GitHub Actions, learning about PyPy versioning. Let me do, I guess, actually a quick introduction, just for folks that might be new or watching this after the fact. Hello, everybody. My name is Tim. Go by foamyguy online on GitHub and Discord. I got the chat up there. Is the Discord chat, Adafruit Discord in the live broadcast room. And the stuff we're working on is CircuitPython, or in this case, it is kind of CircuitPython related, adjacent, if you will. CircuitPython.org. This is the main website for CircuitPython. If you don't know anything about it, it's a version of Python that can run on tiny computers, kind of like this one that's inside the, I guess that's maybe a lightsaber or something there. And you can just easily save code to it. You can write Python code and just save it into a file, and that device will run the code. So it's really cool. Specifically, what we're working on is not code that runs on these tiny computers, but instead, hopefully something that will help you write the code that goes on there. So the thing we have is the stubs, so that when you are writing CircuitPython code in a IDE, like PyCharm or VS Code, hopefully, we can get some folks that use VS Code to check this out as well. It will be able to offer up suggestions for like how, what type things should be, which things will get returned, what functions are available, that sort of stuff. And diving in even a little bit deeper to steal the name of Scott's show there, we are looking at uploading those to pip, right? So we have the stubs, they get created. There's a command, you can create them with make stubs, but we need to deploy them into pip so that folks can easily install them. And we want to deploy two types, right? The stable one and the dev one. And we want it to happen automatically with GitHub Actions. So that's what we're working on. And I think actually that I made some progress since yesterday. I think I actually have this set up now to work in this test repo that I was working on last night. So GitHub, foamyguy, we'll just start here. Repositories, and the top one, test actions. So a few things I changed this morning. I was kind of looking into some of this. I figured out a way to get it to work with this use SCM version, which comes from, I believe this is from this other tool called Setup Tools SCM. Which I should probably take a little bit closer of a look at what it actually is. But this seems like one way, at least, that we can solve this problem. And this is what the libraries use. So two things I found related to this. One of them is that it does say here, although this does say this feature, TOML usage, okay. If you want to use TOML, then you need Setup Tools 42. So maybe we can undo that. One of the changes that I made was upping the version of Setup Tools right here. Maybe we can actually undo that one though, because we're not using TOML, we're using a Setup Py. So let me find that real quick. Well, we want the second half of this. We used to have 38.6. Let's try it like this and see if it still works. So that was one change that I made, although it may not have actually turned out to matter. Then right here, we actually, last night when we were trying this, we tried true right here. And what we found is that, which is what we found in the libraries, right? I looked in a library and it has use SCM version true. What we found is that the version it generates is not compatible with PyPy. So, whoops, we could take a look. Well, I guess, yeah, we don't need that one anymore. We could take a look back at this in the actions from last night. When we tried to upload, like maybe this one, it says that it's an invalid version right here. This was the version number that it was generating. I think maybe the plus is invalid. I'm not 100% sure if that's the only thing that's invalid or not. It turns out, though, this is actually a feature of this setup tools SCM utility. So I should have pulled up this page. Let me do that now. This is an issue on that setup tools SCM, and they talk about this exact problem of trying to upload and getting an incompatible error for an invalid version. It turns out this is actually the intended behavior, I guess, because this thing is trying to create versions for dev builds, and so they made it incompatible so that you cannot accidentally upload it because it's supposed to be a dev build. But there is also a suggestion for a way to work around it, which is basically you can pass, it looks like a function for local scheme, which will generate some part of this version string that it's creating, and you can give it a blank function like this one right here. So it's getting passed a version, but we're ignoring it and just returning an empty string. Maybe we could look at what it is and see if we could just take the plus out of it or something. But this one does seem to work. So returns an empty string, and then what we end up with are versions like this. The major version, or major, medium, and minor, or whatever those are, and then the dev here at the end, and it seems to just count upwards. So like .dev, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so on. Which I think will work pretty good for us. And so I did make this change, and in my test repo here, we can see the actions actually did work. Here, let me pull back up the chat here. These windows set, okay. In this test repo I was working on, this did work. So we have now release, this one I think right here is the first successful dev one. And we can see that it passed this this action here. It did the upload, and we ended up, in this case, it was 008 dev 2. And then I think we have another one after that. Yeah, we have one more here. I was changing some print statements around. We'll make another one here to test the other version that I changed back. Okay, so that's the dev releases. That was the part that we couldn't get working before, and then of course the stable releases are still working fine now because we started using that SCM version thing. So the PyPy install, it works correctly because it's no longer having this code trying to generate the version inside of it. So that's where we're at, and I think what I'm going to be working on today to start with is getting what I have found ready into a PR, probably just updating the PR that's there for CircuitPython repo. And we'll test this probably on my branch of CircuitPython and see, just make sure that it's actually deploying correctly in that project. Because this test one I've done here seems to be working, but there, of course, there's like nothing inside this one. So we'll make sure that it actually works with CircuitPython. Somehow I've muted this. It's not trying to make sound, but it doesn't matter. And I keep looking at it. So I think let's start with just pushing this and make sure that the version that we changed here doesn't bother anything. Is this unversioned files? Oh, all the idea stuff? We don't want any of that. Set a pi. Yeah. That's the only change we want. Try older version of setup tools. Okay. As long as this works, then we'll move over to the CircuitPython project, my branch of it. My fork of it, I guess it would be, right? We could go ahead and open that. Or I guess I have it right here, yeah. Upload stubs actions. I think that's the right stubs actions. Yeah, that's the right branch. Let's see if this worked. Let's go pretty quick. That's one thing in the CircuitPython repo. It does take a little longer. Maybe we can take out some of the builds. Again, I know we were testing like that for a little while. Okay, yeah, this does seem to have worked. We have now 09 dev 2 is what this one is. And then, of course, whenever we make the next real release, it would be 09, which we could do if we want. Releases. Of course, this one will work as well, and this one will just be 009 flat, no dev anything. And I did test the pip installs as well. The pip installs are working correctly, so I can install without the pre-flag, and it gets the latest, like whatever is the most recent stable one, and then you can add that pre-flag, pip install -- pre, and it will grab whatever is the latest dev one. So all of that is working now. Here's stable, upload 009. Hey Dexter and Johnny, too hot today for anything? Oh nice. Just missed the thunderstorm by a bit. Would have cooled it down though. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's pretty warm out here as well. I'm sure it's gonna be heating up throughout the day as well. Probably end up taking off the hoodie. So let's see. That does seem to be working fine. So now that I actually kind of know what's going on inside of actions, we can work back inside of CircuitPython and we can split this up a bit. So the part where we are uploading to S3, we don't really want to have the stubs inside of that. So we'll just make some new steps right here. I can't tell exactly where the line is at. No, that's not right. See, these arrows are killing me. Okay, here we go. So we will actually, I think what we'll do is make 2 new steps, and we can grab the ones we used here. In fact, actually, we don't need to type this by hand. So we already have this. Let's paste this here. I don't think actually that we really need. Oh, this one is indented wrong. Let's pull this back. There we go. I don't think we really need 2 different steps necessarily, because both of these steps do the same thing, and because there is, essentially the magic inside that setup tools SCM, that is what is differentiating the versions. We're still indented differently here. Looks like most everything else is 2, so let me pull this back to 2. I think that just must be the way that I copied it. Makes it do that. Anyway, though, these do the same thing. I don't think we necessarily need both of them, because really the thing that makes them different in the 2 different cases is inside of here. It's this version thing. Well, it's not in this one yet, but it will be inside of CircuitPy here. But I kind of like the idea of having 2 separate ones, because that way in the actions report here, it's like super easy to see at a glance which one it's doing. Even though technically it's running the same command both times, I think it's good to have that distinction to show, like, explicitly this one is going to dev and the other one is going to stable. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. We'll see if Scott or anybody else has thoughts on that. I'm going to start it out that way. We might not. I don't think we really need to change anything else inside of here. CircuitPy will need to change a little bit. So basically, instead of generating the version, we are going to do this. Maybe we should experiment just a minute with this version here and see what's actually in it. Can we print it? Or could we just replace the plus or something? Do you think this must be the part that has the plus in it? Local scheme. Let's take a quick look in the docs for this thing at what really local scheme node and timestamp. Let's see, 14. Version scheme. Local component of the version. Not sure what it gets passed though. Version scheme. Guess next dev. Okay, so here's what we ended up with. I think maybe this is what we ended up with. I'm not sure actually. Guess it's the next version. I think that's what it's doing. It's bumping every time automatically. Wish there would be just a quick example of what version will look like when it gets passed in. I don't think I can like print it from here. That would be my instinct, is just print version out. Could we? Maybe we can. Maybe we can. If we return version and call it like this, Python CircuitPy version. And 30 in setup. This might be because it doesn't have a version. Let's see what it does if this is back to blank. Oh no, that worked. Okay, so this is, we can't concatenate not SCM version. So this is not a string that we can join together. Not SCM version to string. Does this mean it's a tuple? I don't think that's really trying to say it's a tuple. Yeah, I don't know how we can see what's in that thing. Clean scheme. Cat's running around here. Get local dirty tag from version. Version is dirty, else add clean. Will it print if I just print it? It will fail? Okay, here we go, it did. Okay. So we could build that back up. We could put the, we could build it back up. Why don't we do that? Instead of just counting dev, because I don't think the releases, like the releases in S3 show the hashes, right? We just go to a board and we go to the S3. This is pretty much analogous to what you're getting the stubs for if you install the pre one. These have a date, and they have a hash. Like this, I think, is the hash. So we could maybe make this match. Well, no. Some of this setup code is getting run at the install time, I think. If we try to do like, what's the date at the install time, using the date API at least, it would return the date it's being installed, I think. We can get the hash in there though, at least. I think we could put this back together more like how it was, just leave out the plus, which I think was the thing breaking it back when we had it like this. So I guess it did both, actually. It did the number, well, the dev number, and then the hash. This uses dashes. I'm not sure if we're allowed to use dashes. I guess we could try it. I also am not sure how to, are these the names of these things just like .n? Can we access these? No. See, that says it doesn't have an attribute n. So what is can we do this? Does this work? I use this in CircuitPython a lot. I don't know if I've ever used it. Okay, yeah, that does work. Okay. It's got a bunch of built-in overrides. Exact. Format choice. Format with tag. Time. There is a time in here. Let's print some of these. Time. Tag. Would n, I guess, be node, maybe? Let's start with those. Okay. But time, this... Did it update? Yeah, it updated. So yeah, we don't want it to just always be the current time. So I don't think we want to use that. Maybe it knows how to freeze itself? I'm not sure. I think we could go with this, though. Take this, and we add on this, and then that gets us pretty much back to what it was by default. We just don't use the plus. Hey, Fede. Good morning. Yeah, so that was the node and the tag. Interestingly, though, these are... Well, let's see, no. That was the time. Okay, the tag actually was 0.5. The node was both of these? Was the node both of these? Why don't we take this one off for now? Okay, the node has a new line in it? No. Well, right. We're calling version. Version is printing version at the end. Duh. Okay. The node is the tag. So we need to figure out how to get this part reformatted. I wonder what that one is. Okay, so node is not the tag. Node is the hash. Commit hash. I assume that's what that is at least. Commit hash. Tag is the beginning part of this, but actually it seemed like it was the wrong number, right? It said 05? Yeah, this one says 05. I don't think that's what we want. Format next version. Reformatted. Reformatted. How that was? Yeah. False. Okay, that one's only a Boolean. We could turn this back on. Well, what if we just return... Can we just return the hash? Ah, yes. Okay. Oh, but... it's an invalid version. We can't have the hash in there. Can we... So I think... Yeah, it does. So this does do it without the plus, but it also still thinks it's invalid. So maybe we cannot actually have... Maybe we cannot have the commit hash in there. Which pep, I'm sure this tells us, but I don't... There's a little bit too much terminology and context I don't really have, and this page is a little much for me to understand, truthfully. I mean, I think this is regex. I don't read regex very well, though. Seems like, though, maybe we just can't have... can have an epoch release, post-release, numeric components. You can, but it has to be in... three columns, tops. So we can't add another dot? So like if this was a dash instead? Here it does still do the warning. Maybe it would work with a newer version? It ended up how it was, right? Oh, no, I see. I have still too many. I see. 6, 14. Ah, so we would have to get rid of... We'd have to get rid of one of the front ones. Not really sure where those are coming from, though. We would maybe need to pass something else here that could modify the beginning half of this. Is this part local scheme is really only doing stuff to the second half? Interesting. Let's check back into here. This had a couple other... The local part of the version is rendered. Let's add a couple others of these. Version scheme. Given a version, so this one looks like it is similar. Version scheme. So it's going to be the same kind of object, it looks like. Whoops. What it looks like this way. So it was empty. So we want... How is it getting the 6 though? Because when I checked tag, it was 5. Yeah, 5 is up here. I don't know why it's coming. Oh, right. We're calling this again down here. Okay, we can turn off some of these. Exact or extra. False. Distance. Dirty, that's going to be a true false, I think. Yeah, distance is 14. Node was the hash. Format with format next version. That sounds like a function though, right? Format next version. True. So is the default implementation then... So, is there a way to tell it to like do this, but then we modify it afterwards? It would be nice not to necessarily re-implement that part of the logic. Guess next dev. Scheme configures how the version number is constructed. So if we pass it, but if we pass it a string, then it's not a function. Can't modify it. That's how you pass these? Yeah. Hmm. So we can either have a custom function or we can pass a string. Can we override though? I want to like do this behavior and then change it afterwards. Get local dirty tag. This is what does the actual generating, maybe? Can we call that inside of our custom one? Okay. No, this just added this part, but maybe there's more functions inside of here that are doing this stuff. First version tag, tag to version, tag to versions, version object. Format with. Format with those string versions. So, let's see. So we go version dot format with. Yep, this is PyCharm. Format with, and then we give it that string. Guess next dev. Yeah. Oh. No? It says guess next dev. Back in this code? Format. Format next version. Distance. Guessed. Guess next. Guess next version. It isn't here. Okay, so that I think we can do. Guess next version is something we need to import. Dev version? Next version. Maybe dev version would be better though, guess. Next dev version. Guess next dev version of this. Yes, that is exactly what we want. So now we can make this into a string, original, next, oh, say next version, let's guess next dev version, and then we will do what? Let's see, we want to get rid of one of the dots, two of the dots, one of the dots. .0 dot dev. And have two dots. So if we split it on the dot and then we go to put it back together just manually with string format or something. So next version equals actually maybe we should do it more like this. Says get guess the next version and then just add the distance. Because this will just be .0, 0.6. No. Guess next version. Tag version. Not sure what we're supposed to pass to that. Okay, we'll go back to dev, I think. Guess next dev version. We will go parts is next version split dot. And then start putting it back together. So 0.0.6, and then I think we can do dash dev distance dash hash. Parts 0, 1, 2. That should be 0, 0, 6. 6 dev, this is distance, version.distance, version.node. Let's print it in case it fails also. Oh, we got the node twice. Because the local scheme is still doing the node. Versions. Still doesn't like it on this one. I have still one too many dots. If we had a dash here. No, it doesn't like that either. 6. Okay. I think we'll just go with no hash. Maybe. Let's check commit hash in pip version. String. And string. I don't know. I think it's probably okay not to have the hash for now. So let's see, we don't really need version scheme. And we can just go blank local scheme. Don't need this old version stuff. Don't need these. A bunch of things in here we don't need. Okay, this gets us back to here, which has no warnings. Yeah. Did set this back, so I think this is good to go, really. We will just do the same in here. Set up pi is SCM version. Instead of this, we have this. We imported, or no, we didn't. We defined this. Don't really need version stuff. Okay. Do we need anything else? Put these in with the if statements. This should work the same way as it did in my test one. This one will run on the push, this one will run on the release. Yeah, I think good to go there. Now, do we want to push We don't want to push to this branch, actually. Because it's going to run all the builds. And I think a bunch of those might come before. I don't know if these are in order. Well, it's also not in there yet. This is the step it would be, though. I think it does do all those builds first, and I would love to maybe try it once without. I think I was doing that on foamyguy main. Ever turn them back on, though, is the question. Yeah, it looks like I did. So at one point, we actually had a bunch of this stuff commented out so that it would not build every board. Do we want to do that, or do we just want to run it how it is? Build arm. Stuff does look like it comes after, at least in here. Shows in actions here. Okay. This does look like it's running. Right. I can't do it in the one that's in the PR. Well, I can, but it's still not going to succeed because the one that's in the PR has the real name for PyPy. And I don't think it has the key thing, the password and the username set up. So I do need to push this into my main because my main has my name added onto it, which I actually can push to or like upload PyPy to. So I do want to go into my main. And then if it works, we would then make the changes into the PR branch here. Main. Okay. So how did we comment out in the YAML files? MPY cross, I think we can let it build that. I don't think that will take too long. Really, the thing I want to stop is like all of every device. This. 5 stanza. We still have the twine uploads up here. Yeah, let's try it like this. We can just do this, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look at what we have here. It's interesting. Why are these different? Contents are identical. I think I need to merge first. Well, my main is not caught up though. So state Adafruit main. Merge Adafruit main. Oh my god. So I don't think we need date time. It seemed like it was getting used. Maybe we should keep it anyway. Looks like we have a dictionary type now as well. So let's do this. Let's bring this one from that side, this one from that side. This one to take over the versioning. These are Jeff's changes that made it so it's not using data files. Which is definitely better. CM version. And again, these are from Jeff to use package data and packages and things. Save. Okay. And this is in the workflows. So we want the new ones from here. And we want the comment out from here. And we don't want this. And we don't need the difference anymore. Let's just double check everything looks how it should. Local scheme. Local scheme, we have no version here, which is good. Build. We have all of this commented out, and we have our two twine sections. Okay, do we need anything else before we push? I don't think so. I think we're good. Nothing comes to mind. It does still think there is some kind of difference. It does weird me out a little bit. Maybe that's just because it changed in Adafruit main and it was not in my branch yet. Oh no, this is something I did. Yeah, this is, we don't want this. This is while we were looking at loading images from the web without saving them to a file using Bytes.io. These ones are odd to me though, ESP and export. I'm gonna run those submodule update. commands, which I still have not committed to memory. But need to. I should make an alias, actually. Let's see if that makes any difference. Doesn't look like it. No. Okay, well hopefully that, I don't know why it thinks these are different, but hopefully that doesn't cause any issues, and if so, then we'll have to fix it later. We're gonna go SCM version for stubs upload. Yeah, we don't need to put that part. I was gonna say temporarily removing the builds, but we'll put them back after all. Actually, well, maybe we'll just grab these over without merging. That way we don't have these commits. Push. Detached head state. I do not understand what this means, truthfully. So these are the things that were different, so those definitely go with that. Let's go into foamyguy main. So this I'm more used to. This is just all the commits since the last time that I actually merged Datafruit main to foamyguy main, which would have been forever ago, so that's why there's a bunch of those changes. Maybe I did that a few weeks ago. We were working on this, I think, last time. 43 commits is actually, yeah, that's not too many. Okay. All right. Oops, wrong one. Test. Fingers crossed. Checkout. Man, why do you always remember things like this right after you push, right? I think maybe... Yeah, this is gonna fail. We need to put this inside setup requires. Yeah. Oh well. A bunch of this stuff failed actually. Looks like we might be trying to fix the ESP stuff after all. Yeah, I seem to have messed up my my main branch here. Do not know how to get it back to correct. That's a bummer, I think. Let's see. Maybe we just make a new... Just make a new branch from Adafruit main, and then try to bring these changes into it. That's pretty much all I know how to do to fix this. So if we said... We updated this already, right? Do we need a fetch too? Maybe it's because we didn't fetch? That doesn't seem like that's going to do anything different. And this doesn't fix it. Usually, whenever I have issues related to the submodules, just running these two commands seems to... Oh. Does this matter what folder you're in? No. Okay. So we updated this. Let's go new branch. No, I guess we want to do it this way, right? Because we want to set the remote, even though this is not really working to set the remote lately, it seems like. Git checkout dash... No, this is wrong, right? Git... No, that's right. Git checkout dash B... new branch, foamyguy test stubs from Adafruit main. No track. So let's get this stuff. And also this stuff. Oh, wrong branch. Doesn't have the need stub step yet? Or need PyPy? I guess because that's in my PR. Oh. We should get rid of this inside of here as well, actually. I think we can just keep... the right side, I think. And we can just make this say not stubs. We don't want the twine stuff. Oh, but it has the changes all intermixed. Okay, let's pull these and then we'll come back and change them. All of that. Okay, so in the S3 part, we... Oh, I did pull in correctly. Pull in correctly? Well... No, it doesn't have my new stuff. Did I just... Oh, no, 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 that stuff is up here. This is MPY cross. Right. Right, so MPY cross, we upload multiple different ones. Which is why this one down here is Mac. This we don't want to change this, and then back up here we can get rid of these things. Here we go. That's what confused me. We don't want twine there. We don't want this twine upload. And we can take stubs out of this. So S3 push should be pretty much back to how it was. Upload the stable stubs. This is the new one. Upload the dev stubs. This is also a new one. Yeah. So let's just look back at compared to the current version. So we got rid of stubs. We got rid of twine variables. And now we have our new sections. Upload stable, upload stubs, and then we have all the comments, of course. Yes. This is looking good. Setup Pi is looking good. Except for this. I don't know if these need to go after. Might not matter the order. Okay. Oh, it still has this. Oh man, I don't understand why it's doing this. This is still not doing anything, right? Oh, okay. Now it did something. Oh, but this is still different. But it does say identical now. They're identical. Why does it count as a change, though? Okay, I guess let's give it a try like this. We have this again, though. It's always something with Git. I don't really have a very good understanding of submodules, truthfully. And I don't really understand what this problem actually means or how to fix it. See, but this is very theoretical knowledge. I don't know exactly how it applies in the CircuitPython project. Attached head. Boy, I don't know what to really do about this. I mean, I assume if I commit this, it's going to fail the same way that it just did here. Which means it's not even going to get to testing the stubs because that was way above all of that. I pretty much can't. Seems like I'm not going to be able to test the stubs unless I can figure out how to fix this thing. Whatever is going wrong here. Which is a bit of a bummer, truthfully, because like I didn't touch anything with ESP that I'm aware of. This is just something to do with being out of sync, I think. It doesn't show as a change here now. Okay, test stubs. Maybe it's gonna do it. Maybe it's not gonna be a problem. Maybe PyCharm just thinks it will be a problem. And it won't. It's very wishful thinking. That MPY cross is still running. It's kind of a while. Let's see here. ESP IDF. So these are all libraries. ESP IDF will be probably towards the end of this list. Yeah, now we're into some things that aren't libraries. Here we go. ESP IDF. Fingers crossed. Oh, okay. Made it past there. Okay. Map fonts. Okay. Got to do this part. Let's see. Checked out. Is that green? Yes. Okay. All right. We made it. PyCharm was just a little extra on the cautious side there. Let's see. Dependencies. Boy, this installs a lot of things. It's live. X fonts. Okay. Let's see. Build and validate stubs happens here. Upload. All the way down at the bottom here. So it'll take a few minutes, it looks like. Let's see. Yeah, while that runs, I'm going to step away for just a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, like we still failed. Boards check. Probably this wants the builds to take place, I'm guessing. Yeah. We must have worked around this before. Missing. I think we commented out something that it's trying to look at. Maybe I should just turn everything back on, but it's gonna... I think the full build can take like over an hour sometimes. New boards check. Working directory tools. Let's turn that part off too, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Just trying to build a list based on the workflow file. Commented out. Maybe we should keep the list, keep this part. Matrix. We should keep that part, but leave the rest of this down here. Commented out. Or the other option is turn off the new board check. I'm gonna do that actually. And while we're here, I think we could do duplicate VID, PID in case that also uses something that I turned off. Because I really do just want to try the stubs by itself if I can. Or let's say I want to try the stubs in as little time as we can in terms of like how long the actions will take to run. I know the final PR, it will have all of this stuff turned back on. But I won't necessarily like sit there and wait on the final PR. See if it's gonna work. So let's go. And in fact, the final one won't work until they put username and password, I think, in the secrets anyway. Okay, so we are disabling new boards check and PID check. Okay. All right. We wait again. It's kind of the downside of CircuitPython project is so big, does so many things in the actions here. A little difficult to, I mean, not really difficult, it just takes time to iterate through, which is funny because that's like the, you know, one of the core like draws to CircuitPython is the quick iteration on the microcontroller, but gotta get this part done too so that that can actually happen. Huffman tools. Interesting just to kind of take peeks at the different stuff that it uses inside of here. Oh, okay, we finished that section. Dependencies. Ah, Docker now blocks the auto build from GitHub. Oh, that's a bummer. Huh. People trying to use it to scam coins or mine in the CI or Lord only knows what else. Yeah, that's a bummer. Oh yeah, that'd be nice. Kind of like install the dependencies as a kind of a blob in the repo, and then that way it just checks out the repo and uses the dependencies from there instead of having to like pip install, and you know, a bunch of this is not even pip either, right? Some of this is like apt install and stuff in the actual Linux system as well. Yeah, that could be kind of cool. All right, we're building the stubs. Have one. We have a warning somewhere in the stubs. Okay. It built and it validated. Okay, this is doing test the documentation. So we gotta basically go. I still got a couple, I guess. We're all the way down here. Maybe we should move. Yeah, if this one fails, I'll tell you what is I will move our new stubs ones up to right after build and validate stubs. I think it should be ready to go right after that. That way, if they don't validate, then it will fail before it goes to upload them. I'm not sure if it actually needs to make them in order to upload them. It might be able to make them without, or rather, it might be able to upload them without making them. This is the way that it runs that. Does it run sdist or something inside of there? It's not sure exactly. This thing here, I think might be doing the building of the part that gets uploaded to PyPy, possibly. Let's see, uploading, so doc's finished. This is uploading something. Uploading the docs, possibly? Although, where would it be uploading the docs to? Hopefully that's not like uploading to the real docs page? Surely not, right? This is my branch. It's all not the real one. clone of the real one, I guess, though, for the most part. Like it loses the, oh, here we go. It loses some of the output. Building the documentation into a PDF. You know, I've seen those PDFs before. Occasionally I get them when I search for stuff on Google. Wow. Oh, got a bunch of latex warnings. Wow. Bunch of latex warnings. But it did pass. Right? By cross Mac. It's interesting, well, because maybe that's the only one that needs to run on a different kind of system. Interesting, it seems like it builds a couple of different MPY crosses inside of here. But then the Mac one has like a whole separate job for it. I guess maybe the Mac one needs to be built on a Mac server. Or whatever, I don't know if that's a server or, I mean, it's a VM, I guess. Does Mac actually have a server OS, or does it just run whatever the current version of Mac OS is? I don't actually know. Let's see, native tests. We close this one down, maybe. Oh, finished already. MPY tests. Pretty close now. Got only, I don't know, 8 or 10 more, it looks like. Good to maybe have a side other project to be working on. Got a guide I'll be working on. If I got this finished up today, the next thing I was going to work on is adding some code for an upcoming guide into a PR. I could kind of switch back and forth to that here if we end up having to upload too many more. Let's make an MPY cross for Raspbian. I do like the way that it builds all these different MPY crosses so that there can be links out there so that folks can just grab the one they need and not have to actually get it built. I know kind of the Linux mantra is just build it yourself or whatever, but it's kind of a pain sometimes, especially if you're really new, right? Like, it's really tough to just tell a person who's, brand new, just learning about, circuits and programming and stuff, and just be like, oh yeah, go ahead and get a compiler and build this tool here. Oh, here we go. We're on upload dev stubs. Packaging. All right, we got green. This says we do it. We might have done it. Let's see. Boy, this is long here, huh? Stubs. Is it? It doesn't. Does it need stubs for every board? This part, we definitely want all of this. we want all of this stuff though? I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure we want all of that stuff actually to be in the pip. Let's head to the bottom here. It does have a lot of stuff. Yeah, it did upload. 700 A4 Dev 58. So we took this. Let's go pip uninstall old version. Okay, it's not installed. So we uploaded a dev version. So if we don't put pre here, then we're not going to get the version that we just uploaded. Yeah, so this got 701, which must have been just whatever the last time I was messing with this. This must be what it was. So we want to uninstall this again. And I'm going to use the pre flag. Packages. It'll be interesting to look at this list next time and see if it has all those devices and everything in there. I'm going to uninstall this. I'm actually going to open up this other project as well. This was the one with the virtual env? Yeah. So maybe actually, I guess what I want to do is source that. Source up CircuitPython stubs test bin activate, and then uninstall it from here. It says it's not installed. Looks installed though. So I know there were a few times where we just had stuff wrong in CircuitPy and it or maybe this is the one without the one. Let's try that. It says that one's not installed either. CircuitPython stubs, so not foamyguy. There we go. Okay. All this stuff is gone now. So if we install this with the pre, no, that does not look like it. Yeah, that does not look like it worked. Although it says these are in dist packages instead of site packages. That folder doesn't exist. Well, I thought we were there. So it's like it tucked them inside of user, inside of site packages. User. Yes. Did. Hmm. So maybe we still have work to do in terms of like package data, packages and stuff. For now, we could uninstall this. Because it also does not seem like it got this version. But this is 700A4, and this thinks it got 701. So it would think that we uploaded an older one here. Could we do this? Can. And our stubs are back to the right spot, so that's good. So let's get our test project. And like digital in out, this works. And if we uninstall this, it's gonna go back to not working. No idea which version had those going to dist utils, but or dist packages, but seems like we're fixed now. Yeah, so these are gone now because I uninstalled it. I can no longer go inside a digital in out. So we are good, except for the fact that somehow we ended up with a 701. I really think we probably got a 701 last time that I worked on this with the old versioning methodology. What if we made a release? If we made a release, would that become... ...702? And then if we made another commit after 702, then would we get... These are releases. This is only going to make a release on my fork, right? These are all real releases, but I didn't make them. They just came from being cloned. Definitely says foamyguy here. So we would not want it's. Let's see, we want. We got test stubs. Seven. Oh. Two. So this is test PyPy stable upload. Definitely still on foamyguy. Coming from this branch. Don't really need a description. This will publish and then start up a new set of actions. And then when it runs in here, it should just upload 702. So then if I do my pip install again with no pre, I should get 702. And then if I make one more change and push it back to that branch, then it should hopefully make like 703.a dev, whatever. And since it'll be higher than 702, hopefully, then I should get it when I do the -- pre. I feel like we're real close now. I also really hope this doesn't try to like somehow make a release that shows up anywhere outside of my branch. Okay, it's not showing on this feed, which is good. Okay, well that is working. Actually, I think I will go ahead and open up the library, or not the library, the Learn Guide repo repository. And let's go fetch Adafruit. Get checkout -b brightness crank. From main. There we go. And we're gonna add directory, rotary, shrinky, brightness, crank. Put CircuitPython. A lot of stuff has CircuitPython. Not everything. But a lot of things that don't also. Yeah, I'll leave it off. We'll have a CodePy in it. Okay. We don't want this inside of here though. What is this? Come on. Why does this keep scrolling me down? There we go. And I'll have to grab this cable here. Whoa. see. I have the camera. One. So let's take this out of here for now. Take the funhouse out of here for now. This is the little box I made for it. Let's unplug it for a second. I guess you can see the rotary trinky up inside there. And you can take the lid off there. It's just a little press fit lid. And just, panel mounts onto the side right in there. There's a hole in the box. And then I found this little crank arm from an older project that Noah and Pedro, I think, were the ones that worked on that. And it turned out to be really nice for this. You can just stick the crank arm on there and, give it that number there. So this project, I've got the code for it. Let me plug it back in. I'll be making a guide for this. I think I got finally the code settled pretty well, and the design for the box as well. Took me a little bit. I'm not quite as experienced on the 3D modeling side of things, but I do like to do it though. So it is fun to like build stuff like that and actually have it come out and be able to fit other stuff into it. This time I took the STL of the rotary trinky, which I have not in the past worked with the actual STLs of the parts before. I've seen folks do that, tutorials and stuff, but never did give it a try. But it turned out actually really nice because I could check and see if there was going to be room to actually get that rotary trinky in there before I printed the first ones. Here, just running right along here, no problems. Looks like so far. So we got CodePy. I think I'll just copy CodePy off of here. I'm gonna have to close some of these. We don't need test actions deploy. We'll keep stubs project because that's where the virtual environment is. Keep test project because that's how we know if the virtual environment's working. I should move the virtual environment to inside of the test project. We want to add this. I think maybe I need to still... Yeah. So the way that this thing will work is it basically plugs into... The idea is to plug into like a phone or a tablet. And it's kind of like a social media distancing trainer type thing. Like the idea is to try to encourage you not to use social media as much. So there was like a study that somebody did where they did this experiment, and we're kind of replicating, basically the same core idea, which is the brightness. It will basically turn the brightness on the screen down unless you are cranking the crank. So you kind of have to like crank the crank in order to get the screen to stay bright enough that you can actually see it. So the idea is like if you use Twitter too much or whatever and you want to try to limit it down some, you have this thing and you kind of like force yourself to crank it while you're using Twitter, and then you probably will not want to do it for as long since you got to actually sit there and crank it. Let's see, I'm not sure why it's not running. Maybe we can just restart it. This is the code on the funhouse. Unplug the funhouse. Let's go to the serial here. Let me switch this back to the chat, by the way. I guess I probably have had that messed up for a while now. Sorry about that. Is that right? Yeah, I totally did. Sorry about that. Okay, so you can see here it's printing. It basically every few seconds it checks whether or not you've been cranking it, and if you have not, then it will turn the brightness down. And if you crank it like a medium amount, then it will leave the brightness where it's at. And if you crank it a lot, then it will put the brightness back up. So go like this maybe. Well, let's see, this thing finished. Let me show to the camera real quick here though. So we go over here. We got our thing printing here. I'm gonna put the lid back on it because it does make it easier to hold it while you crank it. Let's just do that there. And you can see if I start moving it there, we start getting some different numbers printing on the left side there. So I got enough for to stay even. And if I pick up the pace a little bit, then you can see it eventually will start to say brightness up. So it's kind of all sort of pseudocode written out right now with the print statements, and then really the last thing to do is to actually send the brightness commands in the right spots. I didn't have those turned on just yet because I don't want my PC to get those brightness signals all the time. But let's see. So that's the other project I'm working on here. I will take the CodePy now that we have the actual correct CodePy, which it's like actually this did get the correct CodePy. Okay, yeah, we do have that. So we'll end up turning these on. We'll also end up adding the STL files and probably the SCAD files maybe as well. I made that box in OpenSCAD. We'll add those into here as well. But for now, this thing did succeed, it looked like. Am I in the right one? Oh yeah, no. This says dev stub still. It does still have all of this stuff. I did not actually look for all of that stuff last time. Why does it think it's dev stubs? So one thing actually that we did, yeah, I do need this other one back. One thing that we did inside of here, which I don't think I brought over, was we did limit this down to the main branch only. This should have ran for the release. Windows port, pre-commit, a different file. So I was talking about earlier how it's not actually doing different things in those two different steps. So in this case, I think it will have probably worked correctly, but I don't really understand why it seems to have counted as a push, not a release. Version still would have worked fine, so back in here, this is not currently installed. Install it from here. Get 702. This is installed now. I can click through it. So let's make one more test change. Not sure where the stubs data actually comes from. Look for digital in out. There we go. Okay. So back in our test project, if we do click through, we do get to here. So if we make this change and push it, this should make, I think, 703 alpha dev 1 or something, maybe dev 0. We should be able to install that with the -- pre, and it should reflect our change. While this is running, I will head back over to the Learn system, and let's make a folder for the 3D model. And we can get window box. Actually called it the wrong thing by accident and never ended up changing it. It's rotary trinky, not a rotary trinky. This is really the box for it anyway. So this is the OpenSCAD file, and it has the lid and the box inside of it, but I will also just put STL files so people could download the STL. They don't actually have to use OpenSCAD. This is nice in case if they want to make any changes to it. Okay, which I have those as well. Here, lid in the box. See, I made a couple of versions of it. We can cancel this for now. We're gonna rename these. Okay, And this is, again, not actually the crank, but it is the box. And we probably should just go ahead and include the actual crank arm, which came from rotary encoder crank arm learn guide. Came from this one. Yeah, which Noe and Pedro made this one, and it uses a itsy bitsy, I want to say, inside there. Yeah, itsy bitsy. And it's got wires, of course, that run out to the rotary encoder there. So I ended up with the rotary Trinky, so it doesn't need any wires. That encoder just mounts right to the top of it. Here's a good picture of this one. So that, oh, it's nice. I like the way they used a ribbon cable there. So that's that one, and then this is kind of the inside of mine there again. Little focus in there. It's got less going on inside. It's a little smaller. But this arm that they made back when they made this project was perfect. It was a single print, no supports, just printed, and then it articulates in two ways. Like the hinge, one hinge goes back and forth, like, you know, like this, right? And then this handle as well rotates, so that I can just hold it steady here and rotate. So, and that's a single print. Just has the right tolerance inside there to do that, which is really super cool. So let's say if we wanted the arm, let's see, where's the 3D print page? And then once I printed it, I was able to just, I used a pair of pliers just the first time I cranked it to get it broken in. So yeah, this is all pretty much the same way that it goes together. It just uses that panel mount there. So I got this from Thingiverse here, I think. And then within the files, there is the hinged dual crank. I think just gonna make this file for now, crank. I'm just gonna make it a text file. Not gonna add it because eventually it's gonna get deleted. I think in my guide I'll link to either this page on Thingiverse or maybe the other guide, maybe both. And then I think it would also be good if I can link maybe as well directly to the crank, because you would not need the rest of the box if you wanted to make it with the rotary Trinky. Let's check back in on this. Okay. Pretty good so far. So I guess if this does work, maybe we should just get rid of the separate sections. I would kind of like it if they would be separated out like that, so it's just more explicit. It's like, you know, more specific about what it's doing, but it's not the end of the world either if it doesn't end up working. As long as the version numbers come out correctly, we could just make this one step and make it upload stubs to PyPy, and when it's a dev push, it does the dev version. When it's a, you know, stable release, then it will do the stable version. So we do got to make sure this part's going to work though. So let that finish. I'll probably be taking off actually before too long here after this one does finish up. Got some running around to do this afternoon. I'll be taking care of that. This is really good progress though. I think honestly, I think we might be there. I know I said that a few times last night in the test project and there was still a little more to do, but I think between the stuff I figured out this morning before the stream and the stuff that I got worked out here on the stream, you know, this is weird how it skips the one action, but in terms of actually functionality, I think we might be there. I'm pretty excited to get it out there for folks to be able to use. Okay, it did succeed. It's going to be a gigantic list. You know, it might be worth looking into this, the way that this is kind of including like ports and boards and all these other things. I'm not sure that we need all of that, but we did get 703 dev 1, so that is good. So we can go back to the test project. We can uninstall this. Uninstall this, yes. Let's see, this does not... Yeah, when it lists them here, they don't have all of that stuff, so maybe all that stuff is okay. Seems like it's not actually getting put in, maybe. Okay, so if I just run this command the same way, then it's going to install the same version that we just uninstalled, which is 702, because that's the latest stable release. So if we uninstall it again, and then we run the same command, but with pre, maybe it needs to be, like, oh, no, uninstall, right? Here we go, pre. Now we got 703 dev 1. If we go inside of here, test change, right there we see our actual changed value. So this did work. So I think we can undo this. We don't really want that. And I'll just make one commit. So we'll go back to build and we'll take this down to just one step. Upload stubs to PyPy. Oh, but we want the dev one, don't we? Because that's the one that's actually working. Yeah. Okay, so I could push this again. It would make 703 dev 2, which would no longer have that change in it, and would be the one that gets installed if I did it again with the pre flag. I think I'll do that, and then of course we will ultimately go back to the branch from the PR, and we will put all of this stuff into it, and then we will push it, and it will get pushed into the PR and actually be ready for review whenever Tan Newt is back. So for now, I'm going to leave all of this stuff out. Remove test change, and only one PyPy upload step. So we'll put that back how it was, and then this branch that I'm working on here will eventually just go away. It won't be really used for anything, because we will go back and push to the one that's already in the PR. But I don't think I'm going to get through all of that, at least here and now on this stream. I'm going to let this one run. I'm going to get back to this learn guide thing real quick here, and then I think I'm going to wrap it up before too long. So have the crank. Actually, you know what we'll do is, do I want to add that? No, I don't think I want to add that. I'm gonna say I could add it and just commit later to change it. But then that commit will show up whenever I go to make a PR, which is not that big a deal, but also kind of irrelevant to the final state. So it'd be nice not to have it. I can just keep it as a local file. We do want to add these though. And I think I'm going to try this out, actually. I'm going to take these off. We're not doing anything really when the switch gets pressed right now. This code is still in here. Maybe we could add something that happens. I don't know, maybe it could pause or unpause or something. That way, if you really want to stop cranking, you could kind of pause it. Just it'll stay on whatever brightness it's on. It's kind of against the spirit of the thing, but I mean, you could always just unplug it too. So let's give this a try. We'll save this. Let's copy this. Let's put it on the device, and it's gonna start spamming the computer. Yeah, it's fine, I think. I don't think my computer actually does anything with it. Yeah, you can see it popping up there. Popped up again. Actually changing though? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's going down. It doesn't really actually get any darker, I think, because I'm using TV, but here, let me try to, we could try to do this on the camera here. Be the first time this thing is seen in action, really. Let's go here. So now my brightness is all the way down, so I'll have to get going pretty quick there. There we go. So now we can see it starting to inch back up. And so that's working good. I think what I'll do is just try this out on a phone real quick. Have a OTG cable right here. It's USB micro on one side there, and this USB, is it B, I think, or let's see if we can get that to focus. It's kind of tough, but it's like the you know, the port that's usually on the computer, but this one basically makes it so that your phone can have a USB port. So we'll plug this in, and now we could plug this into a phone. This app is out of date. Yeah, it sure is, because I rarely use Twitter. Okay. I actually do have, does Twitter go to the top or the bottom? I don't know, I'm just kind of like in the middle of the feed somewhere. Yeah, like I said, I don't really use Twitter all too much. We could put this here. See, it might be tough to get everything in the shot, but we'll see what we can do. So it is going brightness down there. That is working. Try to crank it here. You can't really see where it's at. We don't have the prints anymore, of course. There we go. We got a brightness up. Got another one. Got another one. So if I kind of back it off to like a medium speed, should be able to get just like a brightness stand still. I think if we scroll, maybe it'll get rid of that pop-up. So yeah, as long as I keep like a medium crank here, then it will stay where it's at. It won't go up or down. And if we stop cranking, then it will start going back down. So every few seconds, it will crank it down by one until it gets all the way down. Of course, well, it'll keep cranking it down after that, but it won't change anymore because it's all the way at the bottom. So that's working pretty good. I'm happy with that. So the next steps on that project basically are get this PR into the Learn Guide repo, and then get the actual guide written. I've got the code, I think, straightened out now. I've got the 3D model set up, so we'll just write the actual guide that kind of tells people, what to print and how to put it together, and then how to save the code on there and all of that stuff. But that'll be cool. That should be coming out within a couple weeks, maybe a week or two. Just got to get that written up and then put in for moderation, for them to look it over. So let's check back on this. And so let's see here. This is a very long one of these. Documentation build. All right, I think we'll upload stubs. We'll let this one get down to the stub section. I'll try it out afterwards, and then I'll probably wrap it up after that. See here. This is really good though. I think we're pretty much there. At this point, we basically would just go and kind of come back to the one from the PR. We can kind of do this thing on it, like pair with current. We can see the commits. What's better though? Actually, I like the view per file. So if I go build, pair with branch, we got test stubs. So here we can see the differences. So we will not bring this in. So this will stay turned on instead of commented off. We will bring this over because we don't want this to stay stubs anymore. We will bring this over, which will get rid of the twine variables. We will bring this over, which will both get rid of the twine upload here and add the actual upload step with the new twine upload that's inside of the new step. We will not bring this in so that all of these will remain uncommented. That's the end of that file. We'll just take a peek at setup as well while we're here. I use this compare thing all the time now that I know how it works. I really like this side-by-side view and the way it lets you kind of pull changes from one side to the other. Use this thing a lot now. This is one of my favorite features of PyCharm. So we'll grab the dictionary type. We will get rid of, well, no, we want this, I think. Oh, yeah. So we'll pull that in. It'll get rid of subprocess and regex, but it will bring in these packages as a set there. It's used in the build packages direct function, I think. This is our empty scheme replacement. That's what gets it so that we don't have the hash. This is going to bring in kind of building the package data and end up getting rid of the old version code. These changes are a bit intermixed with both of those at once, but that's what that will do. We'll bring in the package data. We will not bring in the foamyguy 1. We will delete the version, so we'll bring that one. Bring in all these package datas, and we will, of course, bring in the new stuff, which is the use SCM. Zip safe. This came from, I think this came from upstream, Adafruit main. I don't believe I added that. Not sure. Okay. This did finish up. As long as this works, I think we are good to go for now. So this is 703 dev 2. And so just to verify that that does work, if we uninstall this, and again, I'm going to do it without pre, that's going to install 702, which is of course old version now from, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes ago. We uninstall it again, and we do pre, we should get dev2, 703 dev2, which we did. And if we go inside of here, we no longer have that change. So looks like everything is working good. That is really awesome. I am super excited to get this in to the project so that folks can use the stubs. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and make those changes. I'll push back to my PR branch, and then I'll call it a day after that. Kind of just the same changes we just looked through here. So compare, and we're gonna go to foamyguy test stubs. Just gonna double check, triple check here. I'm pretty sure this is right, but I just want to make sure I got the right branch before I start pushing again. So if we come back to here, stubs, yeah, upload stubs actions. So we'll get back into here, and we will pull all those same changes we just saw. Should be pretty quick now that I just went through all of them. So skip that one. We do want this one. We do want this one. We do want this one. We don't want this one. So we could click, oh, there's not an X actually. That's interesting. Oh, I guess because I'm not in merge, though. I'm just in show difference. That's right. We'll go this one. Branch. Test stubs. Here we go. Here we go. Yep. Yep. And yep. Yes to that. No to this. Yes to this. And yes to this. Yep, I think that's it. Okay. Anything else before I commit this to the real branch here? Should still have this stuff, right? Do we want to sanity check real fast and just make sure? So that stuff should still be there. That needs PyPy, yep. I don't know if it's in use anymore. Yeah, actually, yeah, it is. It's in use here. Okay. And we definitely got rid of anything referring to stubs inside of the S3 upload. That looks good. Then we have our new one here, which we just tested out in that other branch, and it was working. So if we do this, why? Not another one of these. Okay, maybe it'll get fixed. Just run those commands again, right? Let's go clear. Yeah, so this now will show the correct branch. It's not actually on the wrong branch, but I do like when it shows correctly instead of incorrectly. It just doesn't update itself after you change branches in a different thing. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so this did do something. It's like, okay, we got a new version of ULab, maybe a microlab rather. Okay. Hopefully now this content's identical, yeah. Okay, so basically we are use SCM version for stubs. and separate stubs upload from S3 py cross upload steps and actions. Okay. Again, just extra super safe here. We'll just take one more quick peek at all these changes. I know I kind of look at the same thing over and over and over again, but a lot of it looks very similar, and I just want to make sure, especially right before I push, that everything is looking good. And it does appear to be. Okay, we don't want unversioned. Okay, so yeah, this happened last time too. PyCharm warned me about this, but it ended up not being a problem when we actually went to GitHub, so let's show a bunch of these detached. I don't know. One of these days I'll have to try to figure out how to fix it in here, maybe. It shows our two changes. It shows foamyguy upload stubs action. That's exactly where we want to push to. We're going to push this. It's going to update here, and it will take a while to finish the actions because it's going to do all the builds. And I think at the end of it all, it is probably still going to fail because I don't think the username and password are in the secrets yet. Although it looks like we have a conflict anyway. So maybe there's another change from Adafruit main since the last time. Since the last time we did this, so we need to go merge main into current. Merge this. Yeah, we'll have to kind of, guess, go through these same ones again, won't we? Yeah. So we'll get this. Actually, I already have this stuff. Just a little bit out of sync vertically there for some reason. Okay. This is looking good now. Yeah, we don't have the version stuff anymore. We do have the build package stuff. We do have SCM version. We don't have version equals. Okay. Why are all of a sudden showing not checked by default, which is very odd. No commits. Okay, right. No commits, yeah. We could see all the things that changed recently, but oh, there we go. Okay. We could push this, and that should get rid of the merge conflict, I think. Yeah. Okay, so it should actually run the actions now because there's no merge conflict. And again, I think it'll take a while for the actions to finish, and I still think they'll fail because they don't have the credentials yet. But once those credentials are added, and if this gets, I don't know if it could rerun maybe, or just another commit possibly would be easier, I'm not sure. Once that happens though, I think fingers crossed, I think we might be in business. I think it will do the upload for the dev builds, and then I think come the next release, it will also do the upload for the release stable build. So I'm just going to leave a quick note here that kind of talks about that, just so that I have not just some silent commits at the bottom here and no message about it. So let's go the latest commits, separate out the PyPy upload from the MPY cross S3 upload. And use setup tools SCM to generate the version string, which is the same utility used by CircuitPython libraries. And I think I could link maybe to the branch. Maybe I should link to the branch. Successfully tested both dev and stable uploads using this branch. Which had a modified package name that included my username. I think for it, well, let's say this. I think once, yeah, for sure. Thank you. I think once PyPy credentials are added to this repo, these actions should begin working. Okay. Link to that over there. Do I need a link to the actions? I think that's probably fine. I probably don't need to actually link specifically to the actions runs. So we'll call this one good, I think, and yeah, let's comment that. And this thing will run. I'll try to check back in on it later today, just to see maybe I'm wrong. Maybe those things are in there and it could succeed possibly, or maybe it'll fail in a different way that I'm not expecting. So I'll try to check back in on it, but for now, that is going to do it. Thanks for hanging out, folks. Alvaro, Dexter was here for a little while earlier. Yep, Dexter, Johnny. G3 Holiday, thank you all for hanging out with me here while I work through the rest of this stubs action stuff. So, and I think, like I said, I think this is going to wrap it up. So probably next stream we'll be working on something different. I don't know what it will be just yet, but as long as this is all working good, then this will probably be the last time that I need to work on this one on the stream. So maybe we'll dive back into some more library work or something like that. But that'll be next week, 10 a.m. Central Time is when I'll be back. So and Scott's around this week, so he should be doing deep dive on Friday, I'm pretty sure. So I'll be watching that on Friday. So there we go. Till next time. Thank you all again for hanging out.